Welcome back, my friends. This is the Sinful Savant. Please make sure to sit back, relax, enjoy the new video. I hope everyone had a nice weekend. You know what to do. Stay sinful. Number 1. This story happened when I was around 11 or 12 years old, and I was finally on summer break. Me and my best friend, whom I met over the internet, made plans for me to stay at her place for a week. She lived in a city about 2.5 hours away from me, but I've met her before IRL, so everything was fine. On that day I took the train by myself, which was not a new experience for me, since my mom let me have a lot of freedom and experience growing up. I texted my friend the time and place I'd arrive, but that city was so huge I got the name of the station mixed up, which led her to going somewhere else instead of where I was. But at that time I obviously didn't know, so when I arrived, I just took my suitcase and went to a quiet corner to wait for her while watching all the busy people running from A to B. My friend texted me asking where I was, and after more texts we figured out that it was my fault for telling her the wrong station, but she was on the way to pick me up. After waiting for a few minutes, a man in his 30s accidentally bumped into me, even though I was just standing still. He apologized 1,000 times. I assured him it was fine and nothing happened, but he insisted on making it up to me and wanted to buy me a hot chocolate or something to eat. I refused, but I was also a pretty shy girl back then and wasn't taken seriously many times. He seemed pretty frustrated at this point and decided to just grab my hand and try to drag me with him, and only then I realized what his intentions were, and I felt so scared. No one else around seemed to notice what was going on, but like a miracle, my friend just arrived on time and came straight away. I was calling her name, which made the guy realize I wasn't alone anymore, so he took off as fast as he could, without saying a single word. So let's not meet again. Creep from the train station. Number 2. This is one of the most chilling stories my dad has ever told me, and he's given me his okay to share it, so here it goes. He was a young man, a Marine back in the early 90s at base, picking up his dry cleaning. Being young and broke and in the military meant he didn't have a car to get home. He was planning on walking until a presumable fellow Marine pulled up in front of him and asked him if he needed a ride. My father graciously accepted, seeing as how it was quite a hike back to his barracks. The driver appeared to be a Marine as well. My dad didn't give it much thought because he was sporting the haircut, had the required window stickers to get on base, etc. He was also a bit older than my father, possibly late 40s. They made small talk, and as the conversation went on, the driver began to put my dad on edge. "So, do you like to party?" That was the first red flag. Not wanting to make the driver aware that my dad knew something was wrong, he calmly answered, "Yeah, sure." Out of the corner of his eye, he noticed that those required window stickers were very good imitations, made of presumably duct tape. More questions followed, including "Do you like to drink?" and "Have you ever slept with a man?" My dad started to get antsy, and the driver began driving out of base. By divine intervention or just sheer luck, a gas station was almost immediately on the right as soon as they left the base. My dad bursted, "Why don't you pull over and get some booze?" Stupidly, the driver obliged, though hesitant. He pulled over, and as soon as the driver unlocked the door, my dad jumped out, kicked the car door in, shouted some curse words, and then ran inside the store to get the owner. The driver peeled out, and nothing ever came of it. My dad made a report, of course, and I believe that the truck had either been reported as suspicious before someone on base, or something like that. maybe the guy was a first-time abductor, because it was just sloppy to pull over and get out with their near victim. Either way, this story has always terrified me. It's crazy to think of what could have, and almost did happen. Number 3. I had forgotten about this incident until I read a few more stories where the person was too paralyzed with fear to turn around to the sound they heard. Then I remembered my own encounter just a few months ago. To set it up, I live in dorms on campus at my college. I was back a week early during winter break for Greek recruitment, and the only people on campus were other girls rushing and a few front desk staff. They didn't have the cleaning company, dining hall staff, or even our RAs around at all. As a result, my roommate also wasn't back because she was not rushing, and my entire floor, since it was mostly made up of exchange students from China, was empty. I was the only one on the floor, and one of few in the entire tower. There are 4 dorm towers, 12 floors each. To get up to the dorm this week, you had to check in with the front desk to get your key reactivated, and every time you wanted to go up, they would swipe to give you permission to go past the front desk. You then had to swipe to unlock the doors to the hallways containing the elevators, and again to be able to press a button, and once more to actually get into the dorm. If you didn't have a key code to a specific tower or room, you couldn't get into it. Now, I was in my room the second night of the week, settled back in and sitting on my futon, my back against one of the armrests and facing the door. The rooms are long rectangles with a window at one end and a door at the other. My bed was lofted above me, and I have a blanket hanging down from there behind my head, so you essentially couldn't see me from the doorway. I was laying there with my headphones on, jumping through YouTube videos, when I heard the door open. Not only is there a distinct sound of the key card going in and out of the door, mostly like a hotel door, I also still have Christmas ornaments hanging from the ceiling. I heard the door open, and knew it opened all the way, because it hit an ornament and it fell off its hook. I froze with fear. I knew my roommate wasn't back, and neither was my RA, and those were the only 2 people who would have access to my room. My first thought was, whoever it was would realize their mistake and quickly back out, kind of like opening an occupied bathroom stall. But as I froze, barely breathing, I heard them take 2 steps forward and even bump my suitcase, which was taking up much of the doorway. I adjusted slightly, moving to reach my phone, and my futon squeaked loudly. Instantly, I heard the footsteps retreat, the door close, and the person move away from the door. I was stuck where I was for maybe an hour, till I could finally muster up the courage to turn around. There on the floor was a broken ornament, and my suitcase sitting slightly ajar. I texted my roommate and RA, practically begging them to tell me they were back, but my roommate was still in London, and my RA confirmed my fear. Not only was she not back, but she also said she had no idea who would be able to get into my room. Even if the cleaning people or the maintenance guys were back, they don't have permission to go into dorms, nor any way to get in. She assured me she would let the front desk know, and also suggested it was just a spring admission student who probably got coded the wrong key. I accepted that as an answer. They were confused, heard me move, and realized they got the wrong room. It wouldn't happen again if that was it, but I struggled to sleep that night. I even felt terrified to turn around and look at the door when I woke up the next morning. But then the night returned, and I, unable to sleep and very scared, was once again up late browsing Reddit. This time I had my phone close to me, and had taped a piece of string over the door, since I didn't have the ornament alarm hanging anymore, and I needed to validate I wasn't losing my mind. Like clockwork, once again at 3 a.m., I heard heavy footsteps outside my door, the distinct use of a key card, and the door opened up. I stayed frozen. I could see their silhouette in the microwave door, which sat against the window and facing the door. They stayed in the doorway and nearly filled up the whole thing. The light from the hallway streaming around them into my dark room. Once again I was frozen, convinced they meant malice and that last night wasn't a mistake. But if they wanted me asleep, I wasn't going to let them. I hit play on a video I had queued up, and as soon as the ad started, the figure left and the door closed behind them. The footsteps retreated once more. When I finally looked up, the string was broken. I told my RA and roommate about this, as well as the front desk the next morning. All of them confirmed not only that no one else had a registered key for my floor in my tower, but even those they did weren't back yet. Whether it was other students or employees, I didn't sleep the rest of the week. Kept my suitcase and chair in front of the door. But it never happened again. But even now, months later, that little 9x20 room is terrifying when I am alone at night. Since whoever comes through that door is only a few steps away from my bed and blocks the only way out. So dorm room creeper, let's not meet for the third time. Thanks for watching and listening, my friends. Please make sure to leave a like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe to join the Sinful Society. I appreciate all the supportive comments that you guys always leave. It means the world to me. Truly appreciate your input on video themes and on things I can do to make the channel that much better. We're closing in on 14,000 subscribers. Truly appreciate all of your guys' support. Be sure to follow me on Instagram as well as Twitter. My links are in the info about me section. Till we meet again, stay safe, stay sinful.